Bit manipulations can make your code really fast. And that is the sole focus of the series. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel and part 6 of the series on bit manipulations. The focus over here is that we can perform certain calculations such that they are language independent and they take out some of the pain points. You can treat them as concepts or you can also treat them as individual problem statements. Now, these bit manipulation techniques, they are not asked directly in an interview. They might help you during competitive programming, but even during an interview, sometimes you might be asked some general concepts like, okay, how can you toggle a bit? How can you flip a bit? And these are all the very small things that make up all the difference. So if you're unaware about what is the XOR operator, what are logical operators, how do you remove a bit, how do you set a bit, I would highly recommend you to check out all of my previous videos first. In this particular problem video, what we're going to do is we are going to take up two different numbers and we want to understand how many bits do you need to flip such that you can arrive at the second number. And we have to obviously do it in the minimum number of flips possible. So if all of this sounds very familiar to you, let's get started. Let us first of all try to understand the problem statement once again that we have. More than problem statements, I like to think of these as concepts because these are not asked directly. You might want to use these concepts somewhere between your code. You might want to use these concepts to reach your destination in a faster way, to write your more efficient code. So over here, what do you need to do? You need to find the minimum number of bit flips required to convert a number from one to other. So for example, my starting point is 40 and I have to reach the goal of 53. You will be given a problem just like that. This is your start number, this is the number end 53. Now, how many bit flips do you need so you can reach over here? So first of all, even to understand this problem, we need to understand the binary representation of both of these numbers. So 40 can be represented as 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. Whereas the number 53 can be represented as 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Now, there are a number of ways you can do it, but the idea will still remain the same. You need to find out how many bits do you need to flip such that this transition happens. So you can start off with the rightmost bit. Do you have to flip it? Yes. So I need to flip at least one bit. Now check the second bit. This is 0, so you don't have to flip it. Check the third bit. Do you have to flip it? 0 and 1. Yes. It means you need to flip at least 2 bits. Go on. 1 and 0. Do you need to flip it? Yes. Move ahead now. 0 and 1 again. Do you need to flip it? Yes. And now check the last bit. 1 and 1. Do you need to flip it? No. It means I need a minimum of 4 flips to convert 40 into 53. And that is the target. You need to return 4 as your answer. Correct? And this problem statement can even extend even if your bits are not matching. How? For example, I have these two numbers available. I need to start from 3 and I need to end at 4. How do you represent a 3? 3 is represented as 1 and a 1. And how do you represent a 4? And how do you represent a 4? 4 is represented as 1, 0, 0. Do you remember how I told you that you start from the rightmost bit? That is almost every time the case when you are talking about bits. Because notice that this only has 2 bits where this has 3 bits. If you think about it from a broader angle, this also has 3 bits because all of the leading bits are just 0. Even this has all of these bits and all of the bits are 0. So it is better to start off from the rightmost bit. Do you have to flip this bit? Yes. So I need to flip at least one bit. Look at the second bit, 1 and 0. Do you have to flip it? Yes. Now you might think that, okay, the bits have ended. But no, you have one more bit available over here. And this corresponds to 0. So 0 and 1. Do you have to flip it? Yes. So I will need a total of 3 flips to convert 3 to the number 4. And this is your answer. The interesting part about approaching this problem is how do you even attack it? How do you tackle it in the first place? Sure, it might be easy if you have already looked at the solution once. But when you're given such a problem, first of all, try to think. You are given a starting number and you're given an ending number. And you are interested in only the bits that are different. You are interested in only the bits that are exclusive. So this gives a very good indication that you might need the exclusive operator. And what is available to you? You are available with the exclusive XOR operator. And we have discussed a lot in detail about the exclusive XOR operator. You can check out my previous video first if you are unaware about it. Well, the main idea is that the exclusive XOR, if done between two bits, it tells you if the number is exclusive or not. That if you are having some kind of an exclusive bit. If you also remember, if I XOR two same numbers, then the result is always 0. What does that mean? It means that there is no exclusivity amongst those two numbers. So, if I have to perform some kind of an operation, so I know that XOR will help to find me. I have the starting number as 40, which is represented like this, and I have the last number as 53. It is represented like this. If you look at the XOR operator and try to remember it, what were the operations? 0 XOR 0 is 0 and 1 XOR 1 is also 0. That means there is no exclusivity amongst the two numbers that I'm XORing. But what about 0 XOR 1 and 1 XOR 0? Both of them are 1. 1 means that there is some exclusivity amongst the two numbers. That is what the XOR operator actually does. So, can we use them over here? Maybe, because we are interested in finding what are the exclusive bits amongst these two numbers. Notice, we have to flip the bits to find out my new number. That means all of the bits that do not change, I am not at all interested in them, correct? So, if I will try to perform an exclusive XOR with both of these numbers, will I get something? Let us try to do it. Once I do an exclusive XOR, how do I do it? 0 XOR 1, that value is 1. 0 XOR 0, they are not exclusive, so this value remains 0. 0 XOR 1, this is 1. 1 XOR 0, this is also 1. 0 XOR 1, this is 1. And 1 XOR 1 is 0. So what did I get with this? If you check out this result, what is it telling you? It is telling you the number of exclusive bits between both of the numbers, correct? And what are we interested in? We are interested in the minimum number of bits I need to flip such that I can convert one number to the other. And what are these minimum number of bits? These are the exclusive bits that I have. So, if I have this number and I find the count of ones in them, if I can count how many bits are set in it, I can easily determine that, hey, these are the bits I need to flip. Because if these bits would have been flipped, then these numbers would have been same, right? I would have been able to convert one to the other. So, if I can take up this number and I can find out the number of set bits, then I can easily find out the total number of operations required. And this is where I'm going to take the help of a previous concept that we had already discussed. That if you are given a particular number, how do you find out the total number of set bits? And that is why I say bitwise manipulation is a compounding concept. The more you learn, the more you will be able to implement. Basically, what we did over here is we took the counter as 0. This is where you start. Now you are starting a while loop until your number is completely 0. And then what do? You say your number and by n minus 1. Once you do this, you will be able to unset the rightmost bit. This is a slide from one of my previous lectures. I had the number n and this is n minus 1. If I'm doing n and of n minus 1, I will get this particular result. And notice what happens. The rightmost bit, this gets unset. And then if I perform the same operation again, I take this number and I subtract 1 again. So I will get this. once I do an AND, I will get all zeros. So what happened? I had 2 bits set, and with 2 operations, all of the bits were unset. My number became 0. So that is exactly what I'm doing over here. I have my number and I'm maintaining a counter. I keep on doing a logical AND with n minus 1 until my number becomes 0. So what will happen in this case? This number will keep on reducing to 0. In the first iteration, this will become 0. In the second iteration, this will become 0. Then this and then this. So after 4 iterations, this entire number is 0. Counter will have 4. It means this number had 4 bits set. So to find out a solution, what do? I simply XOR both of these numbers, and whatever number I get, I supply this number in my while loop. And that is it. This will be your answer. If you have to write down the code for this, you will be surprised how small it is. You have your start and goals, correct? Now you need to find out n. To find out n, you simply XOR start and goal. Once you do that, you now know in n how many bits are set, and that should be your answer. To find out the total number of set bits, I have my code available that uses the counter and it keeps on doing n with a logical AND of n minus 1 to find it out. Once you do that, this counter will have your answer. So you can see how it is very, very fast. If you are worried that, okay, I am using a while loop, so what will be the time complexity? This while loop is not a traditional while loop. You might be thinking, okay, what if n is huge? Well, let's say n is maximum of 32 bits. 32 bits means 2 to the power of 32. That is a huge number. But when you talk about bits, you are just looking at 32 bits at maximum. So in the worst case, this will be order of 32. And what is order of 32? It simply means constant time. So all of these solutions are actually working in just constant time. So you can say that the time complexity will be order of 1. So you can easily see how fast your programs actually become and how much memory efficient they can be, because you are actually working at the memory level. And now to solidify this concept, let us look at one more example. Over here, I have two numbers, 3 and 4. Your goal is to convert 3 into 4, and you have to find out the minimum number of bit flips required. So what did we do? We took this number and now we XOR it. As soon as you XOR them, what do you get? 1 XOR 0 is 1, 1 XOR 0 is 1, and 0 XOR 0 is also 1. So in your result, how many bits are set? You have 3 bits that are set. So now you know what you need to do next. Once again, you will run a loop where you will keep on removing the number of set bits, and you will keep the counter. This counter will tell you how many bits were set, and that is the minimum number of bit flips required to convert from start to goal. Again, a classic example how bitwise manipulations can actually help you to write a very fast code. A traditional method will nowhere near be close to it. But the only caveat is you have to remember these concepts because they build on top of each other. That is why in all of my lectures, I have always said that try to take some binary numbers on your own and play around with them. Tell me what patterns do you see? And these patterns are actually the key to unlocking very fast performances. There might also be a lot of patterns which I haven't discovered, and I will be happy to discuss all of them with you. Just let me know in the comment section below any particular patterns that you have tried. For example, what happens if you take the number n and compare it with 2 to the power of n? Or what happens if you take n and compare it with n divided by 2? What patterns do you see? Try to perform logical operations upon them and you might discover something. It will be actually very, very interesting. In my upcoming video, we will be discussing a lot more of those applications. So make sure you are subscribed. I would also like to mention and give a shout out to all of the channel members who support my channel. You guys are the real rock stars and it really keeps me motivated that I see all of you. As a member, you do get priority reply to your comments and early access to new videos as well. And also remember that now you can schedule a one-to-one session with me and we can discuss about almost anything. All the details are available in the link in the description below. As for my next video, stay tuned and until then, see ya.